Normally in the late game, your mid and hunter will play off of each other a little bit more often, and considering how aggressive Rival wanted to be with the Thor being played by iceicebaby, you can allow iceice to dive the backline and then just rely on Wlfy to peel for both himself and for Vote. Just sit on top of that circle of protection, mitigating a lot of damage, popping that important heal, and even using that Ice's passive for the HP 5 and MP 5.
And we're seeing iceicebaby here on the screen. Had a good game here on this Thor. Really, it was working out for setting up things, initiating, and like you said, it was a key part of what let Vote go off in this game here too.
It makes perfect sense why Rival was trying to prioritize this Isis pick within their first 3, because they didn't want to risk the same thing that happened in game number 2, where Obey actually opted to ban the Isis away in the 3rd and 4th picks ban stage. So now, recognizing just how much of an issue the Isis actually still remains to be, it's going to be one of those things where Obey probably is going to look to either take that Isis away or at least maybe focus pick out a comp that'll better deal with it.
And the thing about Isis is she has such great early game clear, and if Obey Alliance is not going to run the EmilZy cob or any hunter mid, or maybe rotate out Ataraxia to help with that mid clear, then the, Rival is going to always have that lane clear. They're going to be able to dominate, out-rotate Obey Alliance every step of the way.
And in this set so far, you know, sort of a continuing storyline for me here has been Yanis here on PrettyPriMe, because we do have those picks and bans ready to go for you here. This Yanis pick really has not gotten a win just yet. Do you think we're going to keep seeing this Yanis pick in this picks and bans?
I wouldn't be surprised, because Rival like it personally. Wlfy likes it and enjoys it. PrettyPriMe playing it was a little bit unconventional, considering his burst mage is what gave him his name, right? Yeah. The Titan skin on Vulcan is just based off of him. He's been so dominant with that god and other picks as well. Zeus could be highly contested here.
Well, considering that it's so close to call right now, I could imagine that Obey might be looking to bring back the Vulcan for PrettyPriMe, just because that seems to be the go-to pick for Obey. Whenever things are looking pretty difficult for them to overcome, it always finds a way to surface.
And you're not wrong when you say things are looking difficult to overcome here, Taco. They're down 2-1 here in this set. Rival take one more win. They take this game. They take that top seed, and that's the one that gets you that bye early off of the placement stage. Makes it so much easier for you when you get to HRX.
Obey got challenged by Elevate earlier on, and now they're getting challenged by Rival as well. They've been known to make comebacks, but like I was talking about before the set even started, every time Obey has faced off against Rival in Season 4 thus far, Rival got the better end of them.
And of course, going to be that Fafnir pick, because it is Obey's first pick. Rival banning away options that would have made a Fafnir scenario the dream for them, but instead it's going to be Obey's to live out. I'd imagine that we might see a hi-rez selection in response from Rival. The last time that this occurred in game number 2, they actually opted for the AMC Chulainn, so that could be another setting.
Could also be the Isis if they're afraid that Obey Alliance would strip that away from them. Artio has been banned by Rival. They're really fearful of having to deal with that. But with this Fafnir first pick for Obey Alliance, they're setting themselves up for really good late game potential. It doesn't really matter what hunter Ataraxia plays. And I don't necessarily expect PrettyPriMe to go for a magical hunter, though.
And this is where Rival have looked the strongest, it's felt like, at least to me here. This picks and ban phase, they've done so well so far with these first 2 picks where they get to start dictating that pace. And they do go ahead and prioritize out that hi-rez pick. They've got it selected first overall.
And despite the AMC having had a lot of early lane pressure because of his clear, hi-rez at least has a little bit more of that survivalist option, and I think that that's basically what Rival are trying to keep in mind. Vote struggled a little bit staying alive on the AMC, probably have a much easier time on that hi-rez, and again, just taking away the Chulainn, not going to allow Xaliea to play that one again, and of course, it's going to be extremely devastating to handle, like with Deathwalker or Ice piloting it.
Xaliea was just an absolute beast that last game with the Chulainn, hitting so many multiple Rival members, just knocking them up, rooting them in place, pushing them back, and then mezzing them after the fact. And with Rival having it now more than likely for Deathwalker, he can return the favor. And against the Cabrakan, though, needs to be careful not to get locked down.
I really like the Cabrakan-Zeus combination, though, because Zeus, just in general, Prime has been having a pretty solid performance from the one time that Obey was able to get this god, and Additionally, I think that this will also maybe prevent Rival from leaning towards that Sylvanus selection, just because there is already so much lockdown from a base draft.
Cabrakan once again picked up here for Obey. Xaliea played this one already. I think it was even through the first 2 games. So back to that Cabrakan if he chooses to take it. Still a bit of flex. And the Zeus, so they got a lot of big burst damage. They can lock them in. How you think Rival's going to try and respond?
If Rival wants Isis, they have to pick it now before a second ban phase, or else Obey is going to strip that one away from them. And the Circle of Protection would easily negate a lot of the Zeus damage, taking away the damage and then healing the remainder of it. Instead, the Sylvanus, which like Taco was talking about, how easy of a target he's going to be in terms of hitting the chain lightning or even off of Sylvanus or off of the shield. So Rival don't really care. Maybe they're going to bait out Callus in some of these situations.
Right?
That really does seem to be the case, because the immediate elimination of that Circuit, not really wanting to allow Twig to have any sort of chances, just in case this is a Cabrakan for Xaliea instead of that flex pick that some people might anticipate.
Outside of the Isis, potentially, we haven't really seen it this tournament at all, but something else that could work well with it is a Hades, potentially. You get that AoE heal, you get people in place, and you get that multiple beads burner.
I mean, apparently Deathwalker's got a big surprise pick, so never know what he could try and pull out. But Circuit is what's been taken away here by Rival, and there goes Obey. They're banning away this Isis pick. They don't want to see Wlfy on this Isis pick again. You feel like that's something that's the right call here, totally.
Yes, because game number 1 they ran Sylvanus and Isis. Game 3 they switched up the Sylvanus. They picked up the Isis in response, and with this Nemesis ban, Rival are not having to worry about some of these tank killers.
And as well, Nemesis being eliminated also means that Obey won't have to worry about that aspect either, in case they're maybe choosing to stack on more of a tanky frontliner. We've seen the Ratatoskr already a fair bit from Twig today. It has been one of his more go-to selections, so wouldn't be surprised to maybe see that one pop up.
I would love to see a Thanatos for Obey Alliance personally, simply because they can probably burst down Callus low enough to get that execute.
When I think Thanatos, though, I don't really think Twig or iceicebaby.
Sure.
Well, these two players and what they both try to accomplish within their own team compositions. Twig's more the utility base. Thanatos just screams hyper carry early game. That's probably my only issue with that god, but potential Naja could maybe surface, just because that's something that we have seen Twig play. Well, it was a while back in the past, but it has been a possibility.
Bounces on bounces wouldn't be a bad idea for Obey Alliance, especially if there's going to be ever any sort of objective team fights around those stationary targets with Gold Fury, Portal Demon, and the Fire Giant that can make it so much easier to turn the tide for Obey. But now, with the Athena ban, it's going to be an Erlang Shen pick for Rival.
Erlang Shen gonna be coming out for Rival. This is what makes it so hard to go against him. I mean, in your second banning phase, you got to ban out the likes of Athena, and Erlang Shen finally just to make a way to sneak on through.
Rival don't really have to be too scared of much, considering that Obey already banned away the Odin in that initial banning phase. So without that sort of guaranteed lockdown, then the Sylvanus and the Erlang with their heals are pretty much guaranteed to have a chance to pop those off.
Again, we're still seeing from Deathwalker there. Whenever you get the chance, feeling comfortable, feeling relaxed. So, hopefully Obey, even though they're down 2-1, they're still keeping calm over there and focusing in hard on these last 2 picks for them. This is where they're going to round out the rest of this comp. Again, still don't have a Hunter just yet. Who do you think they might be looking towards for that?
I mean, Rom is still available. That could be a great late game option, especially with the Fafnir. We haven't really seen Soul or Kronos yet. Izanami, though, locked in.
And Izanami with the risk factor as well. Ratatoskr following shortly after. Not really any surprises there from Twig. Ratatoskr has been a very staple pick for him for this season. But the Izanami, that risk factor that I was mentioning, it's because Huyi's Mark of the Crow can visibly see wherever you're at on the map and keep track of you for a brief period of time. And that is some pretty tricky water to traverse through.
They don't care, though, obviously. Izanami picked into Huyi picked into the damage over time against Sylvanus. The damage from Dark Portal does enough probably to blow up Sylvanus before the tanky items come online. This is the tank-killing composition that Obey Alliance are trying to employ.
Yeah, it really looks like they're going to be looking elsewhere in Izanami's kit to try and get value out of her, but the last pick for Team Rival is the Vulcan, likely going to be going to Wlfy there in that mid lane. Big-time damage coming out from that Vulcan pick.
And that last pick is going to be very important to kind of synergize with some of the setup that Callus is going to try to do with that Wrath of Terror.
I've been wanting to see the Vulcan selection, just wasn't expecting to see it from Rival.
All right, well, we got those comps rounded out one more time here. You think Rival finish it, or do Obey extend the set?
I think Rival have this here. The Hui-Sylvanus combination should carry them to victory.
I'd have to agree with Tolly on this one as well. That Vulcan, I'm excited to see it in action.
All right, on the desk, we think that's it. Rival's going to take it. Let's get over to the casters to see what happens.
Hey, listen, guys, I really like the fact that we see the Vulcan on Wlfy and just some pure power in that mid lane. But like I said last time, every time Obey have their back against the wall, they go to Zeus and they wind the win.
But they've got an Izanami, and we've not seen much of Izanami since day one of Europe, which is when Nate played it.
Ataraxia playing it, and he played it very well, had a pretty good game on it, and I feel like it can work out here, but has to be wary about those multiple dots in Sylvanus' kit that are going to reveal him from that fadeaway stealth. He has to get pressure in that lane so that he can be the aggressor. He also picked it into her worst matchup, according to a lot of pros, which is that Hu-Yi, where that Mark is going to follow her around in that stealth. You can, even though her dash is much faster, you still have the ability to try and knock her out of it with the stun, with the knock-up. This could end up being a tough matchup for Nate.
Has the matchup not changed much, though, with the fact that Dark Portal got sped up, which means it can cast a little bit quicker?
I mean,
that change things?
Vote can still jump over it. As soon as he sees it start to open up beneath him, he can still leap over it. He can still play aggressive.
Reaction time's gonna be quick on that, right?
It's got to be quick, but I mean, this is the finals of Super Regionals. One of these teams is going to be literally the top team in Europe going into Worlds. I think he'll be able to pull it off.
If you can jump over a Fear No Evil, you can jump over it as Izanami ultimate.
Bracer of Undoing is an interesting choice from Twig here as well on the Ratatoskr, just because he's against some anti-heal on the enemy team, specifically the Kukulkan in the jungle. That Barb Spear reduces healing, which means it's going to reduce the amount of sustain that Bracer is going to give him.
But I understand the reasoning. There's not a ton of hard CC that you're really worried about in the early stages on Rival.
Sprint.
No. It was a sprint early because the curse came out early too, and he wanted to answer it back because that's what Rival wanted to do. Use the curse to slow down Obey, get into the wave so they could get the aggression.
The horrific emblem specifically there. Nice ground pound. Dealing with Deathwalker, and CaptainTwig also going to trade out a little bit. Low HP for everybody in this lane, so everything all even.
Although mid lane pressure went the way of Rival, so they did manage to go into the enemy jungle, steal away the speed away from Obey and specifically Prime.
Ooh, iceicebaby is relatively low. Still playing aggressive as he's got his potions ticking, looking for a little bit of damage, and honestly trying to bait Twig out to try and kill him, at which point everybody would turn and burn.
Twig already had to use that Bracer of Undoing after that poke from Deathwalker, but I don't think that's going to give him enough HP to be willing to come in and try and defend this blue buff. Both buffs on the right-hand side that should have gone to Obey have gone to Rival.
I kind of like Kukulkan in the jungle for one factor and one factor alone. He doesn't have a mana pool, which means with a Bumba's Mask, you can just continue whacking away and sustaining with your Bumba's Mask. Never need a trip back to base because you're out of mana, only to buy items.
The hardest thing about Chulainn in the jungle is that rage management. In lane, it's real easy. You know, you get 6 minions to bulk up off of. You can use your ultimate on the enemy god and part of the wave in order to really get close to that transformation if you need to. In the jungle, sometimes you need it to help you clear. You have to manage when that is because you don't want it to be down whenever you have to come in and fight. But if iceicebaby can manage it well, I've really come around on Chulainn jungle. I think it can be very strong.
And I think that's one of the benefits of it being in the jungle is that if you can manage it well, you can time your engagement to have full rage out Hulk mode as soon as you engage in the fight.
Early game, players not really being too aggressive outside of CaptainTwig, who's all the way aggressive.
Is it because he sees every set of back camps in this game as his own? Seems to be the case.
The back camp bandit, CaptainTwig. It'd be cute if there was like a little bandit Ratatoskr skin where he had like a bandit mask on.
Maybe if Obey win Worlds, they can get one for themselves. I'm pretty sure if we see Rival win Worlds, it'll probably be a Fafnir skin.
Nice setup on CaptainTwig. You're going to see that combination a lot, so get ready for it. Root, pull, nonsense from Wlfy.
Xaliea under a bit of pressure under his own tower, taking a bit of a beating there.
Oh, the
iceice had aggro first of all. Deathwalker juggled it nicely with his ultimate.
And that's where it comes back to the pressure waves 1 and waves 2, where Deathwalker get the fire elementals. He gets the blue buff invade. He gets his own blue buff. Xaliea only level 3 when Deathwalker's level 5.
Oh,
Stun is good.
He's
And now
dead.
that's going to turn around. Deathwalker takes care of CaptainTwig.
No way.
He's going to get out with a sprint as well, back to the safety of his own half of the map. And a lot of that came down to his target selection when Twig came in. If he would have gone on the one that had aggro, which was iceicebaby, that extra hit would have killed him. Then with Fafnir coming over, could have been a 2-for-1 exchange overall. In the end, it's a 2-for-1 the opposite direction.
And it's the worst case scenario right now for Xaliea, because not only did he fall, but then Deathwalker got another kill over there in that solo lane. So now he's level 6 with Xaliea just now hitting level 4.
That was a really fun interaction between the two hunters right there. Vote drops the Suns and then goes into the Suns trying to fight. He's got full vision on Ataraxia because of the Mark of the Golden Crow, but Ataraxia drops his ultimate because the ground mechanic is going to cover the ground mechanic.
Yep.
So we talked about, well, once you see it, just jump away. He couldn't see it till it actually showed up and hurt him.
Then you can't even hear it because
Yeah.
the suns are so loud coming crashing down that you can't hear the dark portal opening up.
That was cute.
Twig will at least get his own speed buff this time round on rotation and hit level 5, but Deathwalker already level 6 and his ultimate back available. They've got to be careful. You saw him attempt at popping the ultimate there to try and continue to aggress onto Twig.
Really just looking to stay healthy as well, trying to use that burst heal from that ultimate so that he could potentially try and invade the blue, but with iceicebaby backing right in front of the other members of Obey, they know that he's not going to be here in order to contest this.
Wlfy going the Warlock sesh, it looks like, one more time, but this time on a Vulcan.
It's not even Wlfy going the Warlocks, actually it's Wlfy going Vulcan this game, and that's been the surprising because we've not seen any of it this tournament.
I believe Wlfy has played it a couple times during his career, but no one has as much Vulcan success as PrettyPriMe has. In this, I saw Lobster say on Twitter that he does not like seeing Vulcan into Thorns meta. He doesn't, because
Sure.
once you lay down the turret, that's there for a while until you
Well.
can replace it. Once you fire off the ultimate, a solo laner can just stand in it and take the damage and Thorns it. But Wlfy just having some sort of big mage damage from a distance to hit PrettyPriMe away for where Prime can hit him does seem to fit the composition well.
But we've not seen that many Thorns first of all, so it's not
We
too
haven't.
much of an issue so far. Maybe Obey adapt to that this time round. But also Wlfy, to mention that, he has a fantastic Vulcan. He's up there with PrettyPriMe as one of the best Vulcan plays. It was one of his go-tos throughout his career to get to this point. Big player in the Challenger Cup, would always go to the Vulcan, and a lot of players would recognize that you don't give Wlfy Vulcan the same as you wouldn't give it Prime.
Right now, Xaliea going to fall down again. iceice assisting Deathwalker there on the right-hand side. Rotation coming from CaptainTwig and EmilZy.
And again, it's iceicebaby getting out with very low HP, and that's really demoralizing to take multiple deaths underneath your tower and watch enemies walk away with low HP and just know that you just couldn't have enough damage to seal it.
CaptainTwig looking for the solo kill in middle lane. Finds the knock him in the stun on a Wlfy. Not done just yet. Here comes the rest. PrettyPriMe going to drop the ultimate behind Wlfy. Wlfy has nowhere to go. 2 charges to detonate strong, but Kala shows up. And PrettyPriMe just barely wiggling outside of the bird.
Like the effort from Wlfy there. Also, respect for the fact that he held onto the Aegis as long as he did. Prime went very aggressive, like into the tower line to try and make sure the perfect scenario came up for him.
But Wlfy needs to be careful because he actually gave Prime that chain lightning target there.
Nice
iceicebaby getting in trouble from Ataraxia. EmilZy needed to find that because Kalos is going to show up and just shove everybody away.
Okay,
Speed
that's
buff.
like 3 lives in a row now that iceicebaby has gotten away with. If he's playing like a cat, he's only got 6 left, so he's got to be careful if he continues doing this at this pace, already losing 3.
Problem is he's playing a color not past that.
True, but at the same, thanks for the really obvious remark there. But yeah, I mean, he's playing it that sort of style, however. That's the main thing. That ricochet off the triple shot from Vote just shows you he's on form.
Vote's feeling himself.
He definitely is, and now Ataraxia knows that he's got to be careful because one ricochet stun here might end up in a death. That one actually
I
hit
did
2,
Yeah.
but Vote didn't want to continue the chase deep into the enemy jungle.
The biggest concern right now, though, is the fact that Vote is being able to take on Ataraxia in a matchup that we have stated is in favor of a Hou-Yi. And at the same time, Deathwalker on the right-hand side is 3 kills up in this lane. Level-wise, 2 levels up on Xaliea right now. And this is going to become problematic when Deathwalker starts to turn up in these fights.
already becoming problematic. Problems for iceicebaby as he's forced to use that ultimate, but it's CaptainTwig who takes a ton of damage.
Oh, he wanted to go in, but he just can't.
And now he turns on Xaliea.
CaptainTwig on the back end. Xaliea falls down. Deathwalker again, and Hinderman again. Iceice just. He shouldn't have gotten out.
I mean, he did get out and then came back in because he trusted in Deathwalker and the setup that he did from him there. But Deathwalker is showing what he can do in this lane. You give him a lead, and he's not just going to take a small lead. He's going to pressure it every single time.
He's just carrying his brains out right now. I mean, in an elimination game, to get the top seed going into Worlds, to be 4-0 in the first 8 minutes, a lot of it goes to iceicebaby, but Death's playing out of his mind.
There's a hot play. Team Rival up 2,000 gold. If Obey get the Gold Fury, they're basically going to tie the game. Collins shows up. Obey get gold.
No chance.
I think
no
everybody
chance.
was holding their breath there.
Against the Dark Portal, the Dark Portal will definitely do enough damage to bring that down. It's a nice executability, and if that just fails, you've still got the Trucker Horn on Zeus.
Yeah.
I know, but man, just watching Kalas there with the root available, I was really nervous because if Obey lose that Gold Fury, this game is basically over.
Scream stole a Gold Fury with a Cobra's Kiss today.
Well, I mean, there's probably a basic after the Cobra's Kiss, I'm expecting.
He wasn't in range.
I don't think so.
It was
no,
just the
Cobra.
Cobra's
It was a Cobra's Kiss. And, yeah, I mean, we've seen crazy steals before. I've seen Get Basic steal it before if you go really far back.
There you go.
So it's not too surprising to see it, but the call from Obey was like, we are losing this game. If we take this objective and we take it and we manage to secure it, then it's not all doom and gloom. We're not out of this whatsoever. We can still continue to play this one out, even though we're going to have to keep an eye on Deathwalker.
That's a desperation play, and it's one that absolutely worked. It ties the game, sure, 500 gold. It ties the game essentially, where if the Gold Fury gets stolen by Rival and they're up 4K, 5K at before 10 minutes, you're in trouble.
Well, he's also helping out Xaliea in the solo lane, who's lost his tower, losing all the farm. So getting that for Xaliea is huge, especially now that he's 3 levels down.
And that's big to see that Obey still has confidence, to have someone step up and still say, you know we can secure this, we have to secure this if we want an opportunity to come back in this game.
Well, we always talk negatively about teams that tilt, and we always talk about the emotional teams. We never seem to mention the teams that are very stoic, and Obey Alliance is one of those squads. CaptainTwig going to get grabbed off of the tower. Big bracer heal, and that saves him. Love the choice.
And now Kalas could be in a bit of a tricky situation if Prime continues to aggress and Twig in the sky, but round the corner comes Vote, and into the fray goes Rival once more, realizing they had the potential of the wraparound.
Man, that's such a great rotation by Vote because
Huge.
Kalas is probably dead there. No one's as dead as Xaliea, though, who just got soloed once more. Actually, the first real solo by Deathwalker.
You can actually see Xaliea on the camera there, like, he's talking to his team like, listen, I really can't do this. You don't even need to hear his comment. He's just like, I can't do anything. I'm too far behind. He's just going to be able to dive me time and time again. I really wish this tower would freaking die now because, I mean, I don't have to stay here anymore.
iceice able to take care of PrettyPriMe right here in the middle lane as Team Rival looking for an early 10-minute tower. Not just one, but 2. And Team Rival, wow, gas pedal go.
Well, talking about gas pedal go, Ataraxia is trying to turn it around and will dash it on Vote aggressively. No further follow-up, but he's got to land those basics. If he landed 3 of those basics, Vote would have died.
But he landed 0. Just 0. And it was, again, you talk about miss versus juke. That was all Vote, just with the grease shoes on, man.
I will say, though, that was a good play from Ataraxia. We just spoke about how good Vote was to rotate round towards that team fight in mid. Well, Ataraxia realized he wasn't going to get there. He had let Vote rotate, so what did he do? He punished the rotation.
Exactly what you have to do, but it ends up still being more valuable to Rival to make sure that Kalas can survive and open the door for Xaliea to fall once more, keeping Deathwalker and people out of Deathwalker's lane. And that's the big thing, is that, a lot of players in the situation that Xalia's in are rage typing to their jungler, come gank my lane, stupid, like he's right at my tower line. Problem is, if CaptainTwig goes over there like he did the one time before, he dies too. That's how far ahead Deathwalker is.
Well, I was talking to Obey, I was talking to Hazer and Ataraxia on the desk yesterday, and specifically about the acquisition of Xaliea. And Xaliea previously had this reputation as specifically somebody that can be tough to work with when he gets behind, and then he starts complaining about it, and that can sort of spiral out of control. But Obey said that's not the case with him any longer. Whatever the reason may be, Xaliea is more of a team player. And this is the moment that you sort of look at Xaliea and go, well, they're in trouble. But knowing that information, that's a big deal for Obey.
Maybe that's one of the reasons why Xalia's back on a team now, because the adjustment had been removed from one previously. Might have been the way wake-up call he needed to correct that issue.
Yeah.
Now, though, he's in the same sort of spot, and his team needs him to step up. For now, it's mainly just in farm that he needs to step up.
The sprint popped by Team Rival as they want to get aggressive. CaptainTwig gonna just barely wiggle out of the root coming out from the Erlang Shen. Up in the sky goes Rat. CaptainTwig looking for an initiation. Kala's barely alive. The
Just-
tick, tick, tick from the Wisps. And still, the battle going on. Deathwalker trying to find a
Oh,
target.
but iceicebaby surrounded and collapsed, and Ataraxia gets the kill. Walker comes in late to the party. No ultimate available for him. So Obey will just back away from this fight, knowing they did take a kill, but they may still lose the Portal Demon.
Kalas just, oh man, what a choice maneuver. Able to heal himself up just a little bit. And by himself, Deathwalker's owning the entire team. Xaliea will kind of sneak around, but he's got to play it safe. Can't show up.
And that's the right fight to take if you're a rival, because where is your lead? On the right side of the map. So let's fight on the right side of the map.
Yeah.
Let's go for Portal Demon, but Ataraxia ends up making a really big impact there. His damage, he doesn't have a lot of it so far, only just over 3,000,
That's where the
but
strength's
it's
gonna be.
been very impactful.
Like, this is the time when you need a captain and not the Twig kind. You actually need the captain of the team to step up. He's the biggest in this game right now. His carry's on. He's going to have to put out a lot of damage. He's going to have to land some of these huge dark portals.
Obey just baited themselves into a
Vote.
terrible situation. Vote takes care of the jungler. They tried to start the Gold Fury, but instead,
Kalas?
it's all gonna be Team
Did you see
Rival.
Kalas then? Kalas pulled Ataraxia back over the wall again. He stealthed through, predicted it, pulled him back. One of his teammates didn't even believe he would land that, so he jumps over the wall and Kalas is like, no boys, he's still right here. Wait, how did he get back? Kalas with a great play
Oh,
onto
man.
a character that we were saying has to step up.
And Vote hits the double bounce onto Twig, who doesn't have the purification beads. He gets the free kill on a CaptainTwig very quickly. All of Rival is just playing on a really, really high level.
This is just the amount of pressure they've actually had on the map, and they just turn up the gears.
Yeah, it's that extra gear that we were talking about. It was just that extra gear. Team Rival going to go into it. And like I said, everybody kind of expected Obey Alliance to be that team to really shift it. But it's Team Rival. And again, I'm going to go back to team identity here, right? Rival, they sort of put themselves on the map by who? Deathwalker. Deathwalker was the guy that said, hey, I'm going to be the hard carry. Team Rival, here we are. And then they sort of, well, everybody's good. But when the going gets tough and it's all about the game to give you first seed, it's the superstar player, Deathwalker, in that solo lane, getting the kills. Sure, iceicebaby's helping out, but DW just launching off.
And it's funny at this stage of the game, when you look at where all the kills are on Deathwalker, as we're saying, you're not surprised to see Obey playing around that a little bit better too, because normally you'd see the team still walking up to the mid lane to clear, even without the towers, but they know Deathwalker could quite easily wrap around the back and pick up some more kills, so they're holding off a little bit more. The problem is, though, with all the towers being down, Obey's defense point is so far back at these tier 2s that Fire Giant contests are going to be very, very tricky, even at just 15 minutes in the game.
Already, and I love the build coming out of Wlfy. The Divine Ruin seems a little odd at first because there's no dedicated healers for Obey Alliance, but when you factor in that Acorn heal from CaptainTwig and the Bracer of Undoing as well, really shuts down that relic for Twig.
Nice
Oh
pull
my
one
God.
more
He's on
time.
the board now.
CaptainTwig, he once existed. Kalas gets credit for the kill off of his own ingenuity.
I tell you what, Kalas has missed quite a few pulls, but now he seems to have just found his sights perfectly now. Couple of pulls in a row that have just turned the game even more in their favor.
He was just adjusting the scope the entire time. He's just like, how much drop off? Bam. Now he's hitting them on invisible players.
And now left-hand side, I mean, the only thing coming out of this is Ataraxia will be able to get a tier 2 on the left, which is vital gold at this stage, and a potential
He should keep
comeback
going.
clause for this Phoenix.
Yeah, he's got to keep going. I mean,
Can he get it, though?
Yeah, he can
Yes.
get this Phoenix with an extra wave, but
not gonna
Rival's
get
going to
an
get Fire Giant unless EmilZy can try and steal it away. No, almost.
It's kind of close, but he could still be in trouble, especially when he tries to leap away.
Half.
Will the pull get him? No, not this time, but Kalas still going to give chase.
The
There's
pull again. EmilZy's gone. Kalas gets another kill.
And EmilZy immediately just goes, nice pull. Like, he actually gave him a thumbs up. And support to support. I mean, you gotta at least show some respect whenever a guy's hot, and Kalas is hot right now.
And when a team's playing this well, and trust me, Obey is still going to be talking smack throughout this game, but at the end of the day, a play like that, I mean, you just tip your hat.
You got to take on the chin.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing you
Yeah.
can do. Like, that was a great play. Sometimes there's plays where you're like, you lucky son of a... But then there's the other play where you're like, okay,
Yeah,
I'll hold my hands
that was
up.
hot.
There was nothing I could do about it. I should die there. Very proud of you.
Yeah, Kalas coming up. just incredible in this game in particular.
That's reformed Hindu right there, if I've ever heard it.
That's unsuspended Hindu right there.
Exactly.
Yep.
Non-violent tweeter.
Not responding because a bad person would do that, and I'm a good person. Although, Rival got to respond after that kill with getting a tier 2 tower and push down the left-hand side, obviously with a fire giant. The wisest decision to make, go left.
Interesting choice to send iceicebaby by himself instead of Deathwalker. Usually you just put the guy ahead, right, Lonely?
No, take the guy that can get away with 2 different forms of escape, technically, because your Rage Out and
That's
your
fair.
Salmon's Leap, you've got 2 forms, and your ultimate is basically 2 disengages anyway.
Exactly. Plus, it allows him to get enough minions in front of him. The waves allow him to get closer towards that rage meter. This is exactly where you want to be right before a team fight. About 80 out of 100 rage, because you transform out of 85, so you just get close enough that one ability hit onto a god is going to put you over that limit.
18 minutes in, there are no Obey towers left.
Not gonna lie, after Worlds, when we go back to online play, guarantee your Rival's 4th. Not even joking. Like, these guys are amazing online. I don't know what it is about coming to LAN that sets them
What
up for
is
so
Twig
much.
doing?
He's gonna have to ult.
Trying to farm. First, he's trying to
ult.
farm, and B, trying to
he's
draw
dead.
attention.
Is he going to get a chance to ult? The
No,
Bracer
no,
saves him
no.
just for the moment.
Look at his
Vote
face. He's not
turns
happy.
it up to 11.
Not happy. I think if he ulted straight away, he might have had a chance, but
Maybe.
the decision to try and hang around the
What
extra
was he
second-
doing in the first place?
Farming, maybe causing a distraction. Obviously, he's right. He can jump away.
Plus, the very deep proxy farm makes sure that even if Rival, want to push that right side Phoenix,
No minions.
they have to wait a long, long time before the minion wave is there to support them.
It does make sense, but at the same time, it looks very awkward to the stand of view of like, what's he doing? He's got no base. Why is he down here? He can't take
Exactly.
these towers.
I like this pickup that he's gone for, though, with the Emperor's armor right after the Brawler's beat stick, because Obey is going to be underneath Phoenix for the rest of this game, basically. So at least having someone there, Twig needed some physical defense.
Yeah.
Now he can be underneath this tower and be buffing up these Phoenixes to make it a little bit harder for Rival to siege.
Well, it's also because Rival have been using that themselves a little bit, so it'll counteract that one if there was one to come out from Rival, which isn't here yet.
Oh,
Callus,
Callus is stuck, but he's going to get helped out by his friends.
Xalia's dead.
And the walls will be marked down. Xaliea falls down to the hand of Deathwalker. There's a rat in the sky. Beautiful knockup on iceicebaby and DW, but PrettyPriMe answers back. iceicebaby gets struck down.
But the Phoenix is still standing at least for an extra moment, which buys Obey a little bit more time here. So they're only going to be able to get one. Once again, though, Wisps, Fire Giant means they could look again. Gold Fury would be the preferred option, I guess.
Gold Fury is
Yeah.
is a nice little prize here for Rival, because I know it feels like they've got everything they
Yeah.
could possibly want,
gold still matters.
yeah, they've still got 4 items on most of their characters, 5 items. So
We're only 20 minutes in.
The
yeah,
problem is, though, is like Xaliea died straight away in that fight. He was already 0-4 before the engagement. He can't frontline. I mean, all he can do, he is a walking, and we've done this before, walking ult bot. The problem is that ult on defense is only going to block like 2 shots, and that's all he's got.
Right, and that was actually a very good ult by Xaliea,
It
but
was.
better heads-up play by Rival to immediately break it open to make sure that Kalas could walk out of it. And that's the adjustment, right? The beginning of Cabrakan being played this weekend, everyone is just like, man, there is no counterplay to getting walled off by Cabrakan.
I'm stuck.
Yeah, man, I wish I could get out of here. And then eventually you remember that, oh yeah, we can just auto-attack these walls down and get our teammates out of danger. And it's the adjustment that teams have made to Cabrakan going from, as soon as the team gets him, oh, we lost because they got Cabrakan. And now Xaliea is 0-5 and just has not been impactful.
Well, at least we got to see a little bit of Zeus on the highlight reel for a second, I guess, with that little play, because I think without PrettyPriMe there, that was going to be a game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
And his ultimate was
Yes.
impactful, zoning away, dealing good damage. The detonate was solid. Problem was he needed a lot of peel in order to make sure he got that detonate off. But there was it was a good option by Obey to actually make sure that their mid laners survived instead of trying to dive into the back line and finish off the low health targets, because Prime can do that himself.
I'm not sure about this play coming out left-hand side by Ataraxia. He's not going to get enough time to get towards his Phoenix. Once he gets spotted by that minion wave, someone's going to back. Almost 100% to make sure he doesn't continue the push. Even if he doesn't need to, he wouldn't get enough time with that wave anyway to kill it on his own. So I guess it's just mainly get as much farm as we can, because everybody still needs this gold.
Yeah, I mean, it was really just getting the farm. They're going to strip away the red buff. Obey at this point, yes, Mr. Go fight the fire giant at all costs. Yeah, you're down 12K. Don't fight the fire giant right now. So just do whatever else you literally can. Sure, go farm up the wave and pick up a red buff. Be back to the Phoenix when it's time to play D.
But I love what we're seeing out of Rival as well. No real mistakes. Iceice will push in the fire minions in mid lane first of all, force someone to come and defend. I'd even take him on in a 1v1 fight if it's going to be one member. Split the difference, make sure Obey can't group up for a best defense.
The blink forward from Collis, a different style from what we've seen. Catches a couple of players off guard. Xaliea gonna fall down, no guard for him. Suns rain down. Vote trying to hit all of the Phoenix. Left side gonna be a problem. Meanwhile, right side causing problems for the mid lane mage. Zeus just barely gets out of there. Ataraxia pretty healthy, firing the shots.
Dark Portal used by Ataraxia, but everybody just split away from it just in time. Twig's drawing some attention, but no ultimate to get away this time round. Bracer was used, but Bracer wasn't needed. The Titan could fall.
Well, Ataraxia answers back, and he's going to be able to take down the jungler. 4 versus 3, however, is power play in the position of Team Rival. Looking for the final shot. Collis gets the pull. That's going to be the game-winning pull. Has to retreat, but Collis, Fire Giant, Collis. This is going to be another re-engagement from Team Rival.
Little bit afraid, though. They need the minions because the chain lightning bounces will cause them so many problems. So when the minions come through like this, then they can look to aggress again.
You can tell PrettyPriMe not using that chain lightning specifically.
They keep resetting the Titan, though. It's just healing it up. They got to be careful.
Yeah, Deathwalker has to get out of there. Low HP, looking for a kill.
Give it up. I'm
Not
not
sure.
sure.
The pull one more time. Vote gets the kill off of the pull from Collis. Half HP on the Titan. 5,000 to go. 4,000 to go. Still in trouble as CaptainTwig comes and plays defense. Titan down to 3,000. Ataraxia answers back. It heals up to 4,800.
More than anything, this is Rival making a couple of mistakes on the engagement. They should have probably just reset there.
Yep.
I guess they knew that middle Phoenix was coming up too, so worst case scenario, they'll be okay. But now this is a turnaround chance here for Obey to hold their base because Callis is going to fall, even though Vote got a great kill.
Wait, what? Boom! Double kill for Vote NBK. Another one. Collis still alive. Team Rival playing off of pure adrenaline at this moment.
But at the same time, the carries live for Obey, but it's the tanks just like one by one into the slaughterhouse for each of them. They walk up and Vote's like, hello, goodbye. Vote's, Wlfy's alongside him going, hello, goodbye. Meanwhile, PrettyPriMe and Ataraxia are like, guys, can you just frontline for just half a second, please?
Brutal.
Maron.
Brutal stuff for Obey Alliance, who have had such a good year. And look, there's nothing wrong with, there's no shame in being the second European seed in HRX.
Hey, no first seed curse, remember that?
That's right. That maybe it's all a tactical strategy for Obey Alliance.
They'll say that after the set, I'm sure.
Exactly, I'm sure they will. But overall, I mean, you know that Obey is a prideful team that wanted to come in and really take it to Team Rival. And even in the game where Rival dropped here, I really feel like that was more of the execution being off from Rival than Obey outright beating them more than anything. Rival just looks like the outright better team in this set.
That's really what I want to reiterate is that Obey played fantastically, and I'm not saying that to make them and their fans feel okay. I'm saying that to accentuate how damn good Team Rival has played this split.
I think the biggest thing is, Bell, Ataraxia said it himself, we're not used to being the #1 expected seed coming out of this. We're not a favorite. So it's a very tricky position to come into a set like this, come into a tunnel like this as a favorite.
Looking for Vote. He's absolutely the target you want to find. CaptainTwig not going to be able to do enough damage. EmilZy avoiding some nonsense by way of his ultimate, but PrettyPriMe blows it way too soon.
Xaliea going to go in just to continue the pressure on Callis, but Deathwalker now absorbing some damage onto EmilZy, and Vote NBK is still back in action as a blink from Callis will force Twig to die and give Vote the kill, and now the pressure could be up for the Titan.
Big Vulcan ult is going to hit the Titan, but not do too much damage because nobody's in there. Ataraxia gets the kill. It's a 4-on-4. Vote is the guy that you want to watch, both if you're rooting for him or against him. Everybody needs to kill him, and he needs to do the killing, and he's doing exactly that, taking down Xaliea.
But it's only frontline tanks again, and the whittled down from PrettyPriMe and Ataraxia is causing them problems.
The jump
should be able to get a kill on EmilZy for the second, but now it's the carries left for the Titan. It's too weak.
It's just going to be a problem. 2,000, 1,500 still available. The triple kill comes first, and that's that. Rival are your #1 seed going into Worlds.
What a story for Team Rival to go from a team that no one had any expectations for in Season 4 at all to the top seed in Europe going into Worlds. I mean, no one could have expected that at the beginning of this year for this squad.
I mean, well, there was no Cyclone GG last year. You know where they were at Super Regionals? They weren't here. What are they this year? The #1 seed out of Europe after a very, very good year from them overall. They've come a long way, and they've worked as a unit and stayed, which is something that doesn't happen too much.
One of my favorite stories here, like you said, last year, Cyclone GG don't even make it First split this year, they do pretty okay. Second split this year, they find themselves in the finals of the LAN, still wind up losing. Third split this year, they win the damn LAN, and they're going to Worlds as the #1 seed. Talk about the come up.
And these guys have all the confidence in the world. I mean, they know that they are one of the best teams in the world. They know they've got potential to go and win the whole damn thing. I mean, this is a very confident team that plays very well together.
You know, you say confident, I don't disagree. Self-aware, I think, is awesome.
That's fair.
Because in the beginning of the season, they were like, look, we know we're not #1. We're focusing on being better and finding ourselves. The second split, you know, I talked to them after DreamHack, and they were like, look, we're happy we just got to this point. We lost to Dig in the finals. That's crazy. We're exactly where our skill needs us to be. And you talk to them now, like you said, they're confident because that's where their skill has left them. They're just this good now.
And I think when you look at the two sets that we saw on the Wednesday, so the Thursday between Europe, and we saw Dignitas versus Rival.
Yes.
That was a set where Dignitas came in favorites. Rival weren't the favorites. Obey against Elevate. Obey were the favorites.
Yep.
Elevate gave it to him. So morale-wise, Rival were definitely on the up coming into the set knowing, hey, we already beat one team we were supposed to beat. Obey were like, well, we didn't look as good as we should have done, and we didn't there either.
Great guys, a great story, and a great victory. Team Rival, the #1 team out of Europe. Let's break it down.
Welcome back to the desk, ladies and gentlemen. Finch, Taco, Toli, and there you have it. Rival come in and they upset Obey Alliance 3-1, your #1 seed in EU. Toli, I'm going to turn to you and ask, what had them looking so dominant in that game?
I mean, it's saying upset, but I don't think that was an upset at all.
Sure,
it was
fair.
very similar to the way they played against Obey Alliance in the spring as well, finding the victory there. The second place in summer finals, making it here to fall. More of an upset against Dignitas, but after that performance, I had them going into this matchup, winning it all. And honestly, just everyone from Rival playing a lights out, specifically in the solo jungle there in the last game, really abusing Xaliea on this Cabrakan.
Xaliea just had no breathing room from that deadly combination by Ice and Deathwalker. They were just all over him. And on top of that, they were not the only ones making plays. I mean, it was just insane and a little bit absurd watching the teamwork actually come into light fully from Rival. It just seemed as though Deathwalker was practically unstoppable.
No, Deathwalker, it really looked like he was unkillable in that game. And you mentioned their teamwork there, Taco. You're 100% right, because coming into this, I was taking notes, I was saying, well, who was the real standout guy? Well, Vote looked good, but Wlfy looked good, but Callus looked good, but everyone just looked good on this team. I mean, yes, in particular, Vote was the one that was getting all the kills. Vote was the one that was looking so unstoppable, but you got to give credits to every one of those Rival members.
The support player from a Rival, Callus, hitting some insane pulls, especially onto Ataraxia through this red buff. He followed and traced him through that red buff wall. Watch this. Predicts it and pulls him back in.
Some of these pulls were actually just so freaking good that I almost had to believe it wasn't intentional. But knowing the mechanical talent that these guys have, I understand fully that that was his intention, was to grab Ataraxia. As soon as you reflexively throw out that pull, you just have that understanding and trusting within yourself. And your teammates have to have it too. I mean, during that moment where he pulled Ataraxia, his team for a second maybe counteracting second thinking the trust, but
And
after that,
this
no.
one. I was watching the player cams after he hits the pull. Both Callus and EmilZy's eyes just light up after that one.
Yeah, and I love this too, because our supports, they play so well. They're the ones that got our hunters, everyone else looking so good, and we don't get to do these big high-right rules for him that often. But Callus just goes off this game, really sets him up. That one on EmilZy in particular, just really impressive.
Yeah, and he's giving the thumbs up, the support love there. EmilZy, a good sport there, despite going down a Rival 1-3. And man, what can you say about Rival except good job?
It's not often either that you get to see a support unscathed. 3-0-11, a part of so many kills that made this victory possible for Rival. And I mean, those 11 assists, well earned.
And honestly, the draft from Obey Alliance, I looked at it between the Zeus, the Cabrakan, the Ratatoskr, Izanami, even for the Dark Portal purposes, was to kill Callus playing the Sylvanus, the immobile Sylvanus that can't really get out of danger. But Obey Alliance can never get to that opportunity. They were playing on the back foot the whole time.
Yeah, there were a couple times where you could see Callus just barely squeak back out of there, and I think that was one of the big deciding factors. But, of course, the biggest one over there, I think, that was Deathwalker from that solo lane. We talked about it a little bit. How did he get so far ahead over there? What was it that sort of set that off?
To me, that was just Deathwalker having a really great map awareness and making the rotations that mattered early on. He really put himself in a great position to get ahead. And then when you throw in iceicebaby and the fact that Iceice was just there to back him up whenever necessary, it was very unfortunate for Xaliea, actually, because once Deathwalker pulled ahead by those 2 to 3 levels, not a whole lot you can do. It doesn't matter if you're a solo lane matchup, ADC matchup, whatever. It's just so difficult to actually try and keep up with your lane opponent by that time.
Xaliea prefers his Cabrakan very well there, but unfortunately ran into the double warrior. Chulainn played for iceicebaby, was lights out, and that was a highly contested pick between these two teams, especially the Sylvanus, the Odins as well. Both of these teams know each other inside and out, and I'm really surprised to see it going like this.
Yeah, this was not Xaliea playing poorly by any means at all. This was just Rival and the rest of that solo jungle and getting out to such a hot start for them. But let's talk a little bit about Wlfy on this Vulcan as well. I mean, yeah, the rest of his team went also. You could kind of lose Wlfy in there somewhere. He had a real good game too.
A lot of space control with the Vulcan, and I think that's got to be a little bit of a jab at PrettyPriMe there. Wlfy doesn't play it too often, and I think it's like, all right, well, if you're not going to pick it, I will. It was actually last pick in this game number 4.
There was one ultimate there. I believe it was the left-hand Phoenix, or it was the right-hand Phoenix if you're Obey, but it looked pretty fried because that Vulcan ult, it was launching off into the statue. And other than that, though, Wlfy's Vulcan, it was pretty superb. I think that he did an excellent job and it accomplished what Rival was looking for and what they always tend to look for, which is that objective control. Obey having a really hard time contesting against those Vulcan turrets. Just so much shred possibility between the Suns and then the ultimate secure because of the Vulcan.
Yeah, and then after that point, it was just so easy to control with the zoning ultimates from Wlfy. You know, it was intended, I think, personally.
Well, there's one more play I wanted to ask you guys about specifically here, too, whether or not, Wlfy was zoning. When Obey start falling behind at first, they go over to the left side. They start pulling the gold for you, which looked like the right call, but I think that the Portal Demon was up, and it just kind of goes out of control for them there. Tell me a little bit about what was happening for him in that one.
Well, Obey Alliance actually took advantage of Rival's overcommitment to the solo lane. They were abusing Xalia's Cabrakan simply because a Guardian that gets behind is very easy to keep continuing to abuse. Obey Alliance, they breathed a little bit of life into them by keeping the game still relatively in their control with that early gold, but they couldn't get the second Gold Fury after the fact, and then it was just Rival's game from there on out.
Unfortunately for Obey, if you're looking at the Gold Fury, I mean, you have to keep in mind there are still other portions of the map in play, and I love the decision-making to try and capitalize off of Rival's initial attention towards that solo lane, like Totally mentioned, but it's not necessarily worth it if you're having to overcommit on that objective against a team that's already further ahead in experience.
Well, these are our two teams here. Rival get the first seed, Obey get the second in EU, but they're both going to be able to make it to HRX. So don't worry, if Obey's your favorite team, you're still going to get to see plenty of them. In fact, let's take a look here at the schedule. This is where Rival get to go as the 1 seed. You can see them on the opposite end of EU United here, going all the way to quarters right away.
And something that we have to actually mention is the history of the first and second seeds of all the Smite World Championships. In the first one, it was actually COG Red over COG Prime. And there's always such a thing as first seed curse. Paradigm in Season 2 was over Epsilon, and then Epsilon won World. Season 3, Obey Alliance was actually over Energy, and they lost it.
Oh, yeah, well, then it's just strategic then from Obey, right? That was the plan all along. Avoid the curse and make sure that they still come in at a comfortable position. But unfortunately, we do have those HRX tickets sold out, so you might not be able to make it to the venue itself. But if you still want to watch with a bunch of friends in a cool situation, we got the Coke Theater going on for you. It's something where you can still get a lot of people together. It's very similar to the experience where everyone's getting excited and enjoying the Smite action.
If you can see on your left there, the hell is being blocked by the Ratatoskr ear. That's so sneaky.
Are we ready to? Are we ready for what's next, or do we still have to keep listening to Tolly? All right, yeah, SWC bundle. Get me away from Tolly. Let's talk about that. The loot pack that's going to be here, where you can get. It's only 1,500 gems. You can get.
If you'll notice, there is a Mystic Defender Neath in
Oh
the
my
top
God.
right panel. Then you have your
Get me out.
2018 Kernanos in the bottom left.
You can also get some of the past skins from HRX's past, like with Cogsilla, Energy Chronos. Get some of those great skins there for yourself. I got to read them out myself this time. They tricked me here. So great. There we go. Epsilon.
We're just a
Inertia.
family here at the
That's
hi-rez
right.
studios.
One big happy family.
That's right. We're one big happy family. That's me here, Finch, Taco, Tolly, and in fact, we got Tom standing by with an interview with our EU winners.
Thanks a lot, guys, on the desk. It's me and Tom Manager standing with the family that is Team Rival. You know, I talked earlier on the broadcast about the story that you guys had last year at Super Regionals. Weren't even here. Split 1 this year, pretty all right. Split 2, second place at LAN. Split 3, you guys are just doing it. Collis, I'm going to ask you this question. You've been support for this team for a while. Just what's this journey been like?
It's been pretty rocky, very long, but here we are. We are finally doing really well the way that we wanted to do the whole time, and hopefully it continues.
I mean, you guys have stuck together as a unit, particularly the 5 of you, Alpha Jackal joining as well. I mean, how important is it to you that you guys have done this as a team?
Really important, actually. Like, spending time with the whole team here is amazing, and I really hope that we don't fall apart ever.
I mean, from the looks of it, you guys are far from it. Fantastic work, pretty much by everyone around, which is really, really a lot of fun to watch. Vote playing the hunter position. I mean, you were kind of just doing this. Talk to me about the series and how it went for you.
I'm a beast. Nate sucks. I'm the best ADC on LAN. It's pretty easy. Every game's free when you're as good as me.
Well, you heard it from the horse's mouth. Vote, formerly known as Vote MBK, actually is a natural-born killer. And, you know, I want to talk about the swagger that you guys have. A lot of confidence here. A lot of just this is self-awareness. You know, I spoke to you guys after DreamHack, and you were pretty happy. Even though you lost, you're just like, hey, man, we're just, you know, we're improving slowly as a team. Well, now you're #1. Is it just pure confidence now? You know that you're better?
We've always known we're better. It's just that now we have proof to prove it.
That's the right answer. You guys are coming up with all of the right ones. And here I want to talk about the whole trip throughout this Super Regionals. Your split, not so hot compared to how well you guys did here. What's the difference between Rival online versus at LAN?
Ice just is complete garbage online. When it comes to LAN, he just carries every game.
That's it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, Ice here on LAN, certainly turning it up for good reason, hiding out there in the back with Alpha Jackal. I can't reach you, so I'll just ask Collis. Alpha Jackal joining the team seemed to, on a serious note, seemed to be a big deal. What has Alpha Jackal done for you guys?
He kind of just made the enemies picks that we know exactly what they're doing, and honestly, he's been predicting 100% most of the time. Sometimes he's useless, so online he doesn't do anything, but on LAN he turns it up just like Ice.
I mean, that's the big difference, I guess, here, is that at LAN, Ice turns up, Alpha Jackal turns up, Vote even hits a couple of his shots. But you know what, there was a standout performer during the series, and you know I think he's been the standout performer for a long time for this squad. So first of all, let me give you guys your team trophy. Congratulations on being the #1 team out of Europe. That's something that you all can lift. And then, yeah. It kind of looks like Wlfy's head straight up. And then I'll ask you the easy one. All right, you guys are #1. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. That's kind of all that I have to say.
I knew it was coming.
The ever-confident Vote. And then, as I said, I have an individual trophy as well. For an outstanding performance during the finals, I'm going to have to give this over to Deathwalker. Big plays coming out from the big man himself. DW, as I love to call you, you are a fantastic player, and you certainly showed it. What do you have to say about this series?
Xaliea was free.
That's it. Just that.
Just that.
Well, fantastic stuff coming out from Deathwalker, a man of few words. I'll direct this one over to Vote as I give you the final word. What do you have to say to the folks at home?
Hello.
I'll direct this one to Collis. What do you say to the folks at home?
I hope you enjoyed our trolling. and being bad at the game. Can I do the shoutouts now? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, so shoutouts to Team Rival, shoutouts to my bad team over there, and shoutouts to my window. Without the window, I would be just in dark the whole day. I would not even know what day it is.
Well, all right. Everybody's got a new perspective when you look out the window, and we've got a new top team in Europe. Congratulations to Team Rival. Congratulations to Deathwalker. Congratulations to everyone else that has succeeded. We'll see everybody at Worlds. Thank you for joining us. On behalf on everybody here at hi-rez Studios, we love you, and we'll see you at HRX.
Awesome to the max.